and I met in the Outlier Project, just like Victoria and team. We're all part of a really, really cool community, and we find each other, posting and using LinkedIn very often. So I wanted to create a space where we could have conversations as friends who are also content creators on this platform and get to learn from one another our journeys. We put messages out there, we send important pieces of content that for ourselves, and we want to share those with the rest of the communities that we interact with. And sometimes we only read the post and we take away a piece of that with us, but we don't know the person behind the post. We don't know what took that person to write those messages and what else is about that person that makes them special. And so I wanted to create the space for having those conversations and get to know each other better. So I called it If My LinkedIn Post Could Talk, and we will be having that deeper dive with my friend Caren today. So Caren, I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Okay, so I have a signature question, Caren, that I start everybody with, because I feel like it's a warm up to start to get to know you, but also can help us learn your philosophy to use LinkedIn for your content and for the messages that you're putting out there for all of us. So I call it the ABC of content creation. And it will be your ABC of content creation. So let's start with the letter A. And that would be a thing that you leave for the last minute when you are putting contents or videos or anything out there for people to get to know you.
Oh God, this is such a good question. A thing that I leave for last minute, actually content is what I leave for the last minute. If I'm being honest, I have notes in my phone, like in the notes section of my phone of things that I want to talk about. But like sometimes things just come to me, like the tree post I did yesterday. Like that was just something that nowhere came to me. So a lot of times I don't necessarily. I always content will be the answer.
Okay. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Anita. So glad you're here. So if content per se is the last thing you do, then what is the best practice that you've learned so far?
Write the note. So the best practice actually is when I have an idea to write it down. Like even if it's before I'm going to bed, which happens a lot. But when I have the idea, like the tree post, I had the idea, and I wrote it in the notes section of my phone, and that's the best thing I do. And I also started doing like content pillars, like things that I like to talk about and things like that. So like I have like an outline.
Very cool. And so one of the things that people don't know that you and I have in common is that we both of us come from the advertising world. And so, that means we have been surrounded by a lot of creativity and the request for creativity sometimes. When you are, thinking about what to communicate or how creative you want to be with your message, with your messaging, but you have days when you are uninspired, what is your creativity booster?
Oh, that's a really great question. I have a few actually. Other people. So I'll scroll and look at what other people are saying and doing and how I react to what other people are saying. So a lot of times that'll help me be creative. And when I'm blessed, I guess, or feeling, because listen, that happens. We're human. We don't. Some days, we're not all up in our feelings, in the high vibe feelings, which I try to be a lot. I'm all about levity and fun and ridiculousness. So my creative, I'll go on YouTube and look up bloopers or something that'll make me laugh. And then also, of course, dancing it out is also a creative booster, like just to get the ish out, so to speak. And then, that'll boost my creativity.
That's awesome. Well, that gives us the warm up to really get to know you, Caren. Your area of work is very fascinating to me. Your content, it gives us like little breadcrumbs into what you do, and I want to make sure that today we get to know that better, and that you share, obviously, why what you do is important for you and for others. But let's start with a brief recap of your of the post that you chose for us, which I found it, related to what you just said, your passion for dancing and how you use that as a catalyst. You said in the post that none of us are broken. We are whole humans who shine brightly. We are a disco ball. And you have an image from with a disco ball that is very, happy and bright. And it says, a disco ball is hundreds of pieces of broken glass put together to make a magical ball of light. You aren't broken. You are a disco ball. So let's pause there. I wanted to be the voiceover of your post so it could talk to you. And upon reflection and in retrospect, what made you choose that post that day?
That post had actually come up in a memory on my Facebook memories. And part of what I'm unabashed in my love for disco. So that post had come up as a memory. And sometimes I do that too. Obviously, listen, oh my God, English is like my second language. Repurpose posts. But it had come up that day. And in conversations with people recently, and just, even with myself, it was, people are like, I'm broken and I need fixing. And that's not the case. And so that's also why I decided to post it, because it was really like based off a lot of conversations I was having with people, and like even, feelings that I was having about myself and whatnot. And, I'm going through, empty nesting and stuff like that personally. And I was just like, I really feel like people need to be inspired right now. So that was where the crux of the post is. And side note, unabashed in my love for disco. I'm a huge disco freak. I love disco music. I'm pissed that I was too young to go to Studio 54 when it was, playing disco. I was there for the place, so I got to be in the place and lost my mind. It was amazing. But a part of what I want to do is not just talk about what I do for a living and how I help people with what I do. It's also to inspire people and impact people. And I want people to understand that they're not broken and they don't need fixing, and that the truth of the matter is that none of us stood a chance. Yay! I mean, I know it sounds like really heavy, but like the truth is we didn't stand a chance. Like there were so many things stacked against us. So we're broken, we don't need fixing, and we're disco ball. And I love the perspective of the fact that little bits and pieces put together to make up this shiny thing. It's like a shiny object. Whether you like disco or not, it's little bits and pieces put together to make something. How cool is that?
I think it's a beautiful analogy. I mean, I know personally I felt broken before, and, picking up the pieces and putting them back together is a process. And I talk to us about that process from a trauma-informed perspective, Caren. And, when you have people that come your way, feeling like they don't know who they are, and that they don't know where to even start figuring that out. What is your philosophy? What inspires you to do that work? What brought you into the trauma field?
Okay, I'll start with what brought me in and then work that way. I'm a student of the work that I teach. So I found my short story, advertising. I worked in advertising. I was doing health and wellness coaching with Isogenics, and COVID hit. My position ended, and I became a full-time entrepreneur completely and totally accidentally. And I had no idea who I was and what I was doing because I so identified as the quote unquote working mom. And so I found myself stuck and I was doubting, I was all over the place. And my mentor actually came on an isogenic training call, and I took her courses and her classes, and I learned, and so this is going to answer the next question, what I learned from it is that we all have a trauma. And by that, I mean, somebody, we wanted to play with kids on the playground and we weren't asked to play. And so therefore that became, that's a trauma, because it's like we wanted to play with them. They said no, and we made meaning out of it. We decided we weren't enough, or we didn't matter, or something to that effect. And in my world, so I'm a recovering people pleaser, codependent, and control freak. So my not enoughness and my not mattering, I made meaning as a child of something, and because it all stems from our childhood. So we have all this stored feelings and all these stored things, and that manifest into adulthood as people pleasing, as different types of things. In my case, like I said, people pleasing, controlling, and codependency. And when I realized that, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense as to why I've done the things that I've done, and all the like my whole life made sense at that point. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe my health and wellness clients would be from this, because, people already do personal development. I'm like, this is way deeper than that. This is really way deeper than that. So that's why I was like, okay, I need to now become, a coach and help people like myself. That was like so that's the crux of it, because I was like, wait, it makes so much sense, and now I understand it. But the cool part about what I do is, in the short version, is I understand it. We get to the core of it. I do inner child work as well, and we talk to your little person, and we talk to your little girl, your little boy. We do somatic work. We get to the inner deep dive of what happened and the root cause. But now we know it as data, and now we can be like, okay, cool. These were the beliefs I came to you with, and now it's. Okay, now we rewire and reprogram, and now you can become a 2.0 version, a new version of yourself. So when people don't know where to start, it's really a conversation with them of what's going on in their life, so they understand their core limiting belief about themselves. Once we know that, boom, you work with me, and your belief is I'm not enough, so I'm enough and whole as I am. For example, that's what it becomes, or I'm enough and whole as I am.
I think that's awesome. And I also wonder, how do you find that people, when you approach people with that type of honesty, right? Like when you talk about, you're talking about inner child work, you're talking about trauma. I feel those are things that for me are important to talk about, and I don't shy away from those conversations. But sometimes from my frame of reference, sometimes when I bring up those topics, it feels like a turnoff for other people. But I don't work in what you do. I just do it because I just feel like it's important. But for somebody in your field, like how do people receive the help that you can give them? Or are they open most of the time even to start a conversation with you about this?
Excellent question, and it depends. And I know that's the most obnoxious answer ever, but it's the truth. It really depends. I try to do it in a few ways. So I try to add some fun into it. Like yesterday I posted, you get a trauma, you get a trauma, you get a trauma. Like I try to add some fun into it. But I also realize, like, when I try the perspective of, it's heavy to think about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And people are going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. So I try to come at it from the perspective of, isn't this cool kind of a thing? Or even like, I didn't know I had a trauma. I didn't know about inner child healing work. Like, so if I can explain it as if you're a 5-year-old, and I don't mean it like to be obnoxious when I say it like that, but if I would have read that before I started, I'd been like, yeah, right, whatever. You know what I mean? So I try to come in it from that platform so that I talk about it, understand it a little bit better. And that's why I also do the complimentary discovery calls. I do that with everybody. I welcome a conversation so that we can really talk deeper into what it is that I do. But really, what I'm doing is an identity transformation. You're transforming. That's literally what's going on, is a transformation.
Wow, that's so powerful. I think, these, I'm personally one of those people that think these are the kinds of things that need to be normalized to have conversations about, where it's not, tense. And I really love the way in which you approach it on LinkedIn, because, you have your Friday, what is the hashtag, Friday night dance, something like that?
Friday dance party.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a way to introduce the integration part of this. I feel like, where you show up as you are in your wholeness, and you demonstrate that to the world with no reservations and no, you're not shy about it, and you're so authentic. And I know, because I know you, there's a deeper meaning as to why you do that. But it requires the courage to be able to lean into the conversation, to understand the principles, to not shy away from topics that may seem a little heavy at first, but when you go into it, it's like the whole realization of where our humanness is about altogether.
Exactly. And I shrunk down. I mean, I think a lot of us, and you guys can raise your hand, and the people listening, how many of you have shrunk down for whatever reason? You know what I mean? Or not said something because you were afraid it was going to be perceived or something like that. And I would venture to guess, even if you don't want to raise your hand, which is totally cool, that I would say all of us here listening and speaking have done something like that. And I'm very transparent in the fact that I am who I am, and I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. Because for so long I twisted and turned to make it like I was like everybody, or I shrunk myself, or I wasn't myself. I did a thing about having trauma about my name, the way it's spelled, and the fact that I wasn't going to name my company with my name, and meanwhile I did, Caren Cooper Coaching. And it's interesting because someone said to me recently how unique my name is spelled and how amazing it is. And I didn't lean into that uniqueness for so long because I was, I didn't think, because of my limiting beliefs, because I thought, I didn't know they were limiting beliefs at the time, because I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like I didn't matter my whole life. So even though I always talk about authenticity and being who you are and being true to you, there was parts of me that I was like not necessarily true and shrinking down. So now that I've done the work, and I'm, by the way, fun fact, guys, you're always evolving, growing, and healing. There's no ED at the end. It never ends. Fun fact. That was another thing I learned. But how cool is that? Because you can evolve into, I'm 17 different versions of a person that I was even a year ago. Yay. So I decided, I made a very conscious decision to be who I am, and take it or leave it. That's it. And the right people are going to come to, and I told my kids the same thing. And it's a hard lesson. It really is. But at the same time, Jamie Kern Lima, I just read her book Worthy, and it was something out of the 3 million pages that she wrote in the book, I'm exaggerating, but one of the things she said, she's the founder of It Cosmetics, for those who don't know who she is, Google her, amazing story. But she said, you're not crazy, you're just first. And I was like, holy moly, that's amazing. Because people think you're crazy because you're going against the grain and you're not, quote unquote, like everybody else. But you know what? You're just first.
Oh my gosh, that's a t-shirt. We should write that and wear that every day. I love the, and Jacob, I'll get to you in just a minute, but just to wrap up this part of the conversation real quick. You're not crazy, you're just first. Gives a lot of hope for, especially when we're scared to do something we haven't done before. Just think about, feelings of inadequacy that sometimes surface from those moments, and the creativity that could instead be the guide for starting something new and jumping into something you don't know yet. I really, really love that. Jacob, welcome. Where are you joining us from?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri.
Cool. Do you have a question or a comment?
Well, I just want to say, because Caren and I have been connected for like 2 years now, and she still hasn't disconnected with me. So we're clearly on the same page, crazy. Which I wanted to say a couple of things. Your name, I definitely like your name because I have a hard time putting names to faces, and like I know tons of Johns and Tims and whatever's, but like the way yours is spelled, I remember, who you are, and so I remember that you're just, what I remember is how you make people feel, and you're just always nice and real and authentic. You're not just like you're not trying to game any sort of algorithm, which just comes off very, apparent to me. And I think, like you, I lean into owning the crazy because, there's always fears that are going to hold us back, um, before you hit that post button or whatever. But it's just whatever, if it doesn't do well, you got to move on to the next one, which is a hard thing to get over, which I don't think you ever really get over. But anyways, I just wanted to say a testament to you, Caren. I think you're just doing a lovely job, and it's great to know you on the platform, even though we don't really know each other that well. But yeah, and you inspired me to write a post as I was listening to this audio event. So I was like, boom, boom, boom. I was like, dang. So anyways, that's all that I really had to. I just wanted to throw in there.
That was beautiful. I just received that all, and I thank you so very much for all that. That really warmed my heart today. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Jacob. And we're not crazy, we're first. Remember that. That is very amazing how we get to connect with people without even knowing them, right? That happens a lot to me too. In fact, I can see people in the, on the I was gonna say on the call today, but this is not a call, it's an audio event. That we have met here on this platform, and we kind of gravitate towards each other. We find each other in a way. I feel it's like an energetic field. And I some of the people I also have gotten to meet in person, like, if I think of my friend Melissa on the audience, and Hannah and Andrea and I worked together in the past too. And now we also share times here on LinkedIn and team and Victoria. And then we get to expand on getting to know each other and getting to figure out, where the support comes from when the time is there for it. And there are times where I feel like some of the support that comes out of this platform is even much more meaningful than the support I get from real life, relationships that I have for years. So I feel like it's very magical. In these topics, Caren, going back to what you do and what you post, again, these topics can be triggering for some people, right? And they may or may not be ready to drive into, to get themselves into the space of even starting a conversation. Yet you still take it on this platform to raise awareness and to break through the fear of getting in contact with this type of learning. Do you have, is that what you want to provoke? Do you intentionally feel like you're using LinkedIn to transform also the way in which people receive this information, or is that happening more organically for you?
Let's just call a spade here. I do have, do a business, and I would like, to help people. So there is that portion of it. Let's just be honest, I'm going to get that out of the way. Okay. So yeah, do I have a business that I want to, that I sell? Yes, I do. At the same time, I want to use, what I use this platform for is also education, inspiration, and ridiculousness. All of that. Because yes, it's triggering, and yes, people don't want to necessarily have the conversation. Because like you were saying earlier, Lindsay, to go into the unknown and to do things we haven't done before is scary. It's really scary. And our minds and bodies are designed to keep us safe. So the minute we move the needle in any direction, it is in danger and work hard to keep us safe. And so that's why a lot of times the change doesn't happen, because we are so constant what we're doing, and we're so emotionally addicted to the heart and the chaos. And yes, we can have emotional addictions, but you're so used to living in the chaos and the heart that you don't know any other way. And even if you do know, like, oh my God, Caren just told me I thought something happened. I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. Well, I don't know. Like, really, when you get tired of playing the game, that's what a lot of times things happen. You have to be willing to make that move. You have to be sitting in your stuff long enough to be like, you know what, I can't go on like this anymore. So the alternative is either staying like this and going on this never-ending hamster wheel, or picking up the phone and having a discovery call with Caren or DMing her or whatever. So therefore, I can chat with her about what it is that it does. And if you don't want to, you don't want to. You know what I mean? But embracing the fear is the green light. It's like, oh my God, yeah, this is okay. And creating safety. I'm safe, it's safe. So yes, it's triggering, but that's the point. In a way, the point is to be triggering so that it gets yourself to thinking, wait, am I like that? Is this me? Do I know somebody like this? Oh my God, do I? And not in a bad way, but you know what? Hi. We're all walking trauma responses. And everybody has a choice. You want to stay the same, or do you want to move forward? And the choice is completely up to you. No shame, no anything, whatever it is that you choose. I'm here when people want to make the choice and are willing to transform.
Wow. I mean, that you were taking on a lot of purpose, even when you talk about it in a realistic form, right? Yes, I'm pursuing to do this for a living. I feel like it's still coming from a place where you said, right, you are the student of what you preach and what you promise. And that's a completely different connection than just wanting to make it for a living. If we think about the post that we were just talking about, right, about that we are all, what is it called? We are a disco ball. Is there anything else when you were thinking about sharing that perspective of, we're not broken, we're just pieces of mirror that come together into this beautiful ball of light? Is there anything else there that you thought about that you wanted to say that you didn't get to say?
Yeah, there were a lot.
Okay.
But you know what? One of the things I was like, because I wanted to really, like, that's why I just said we're not broken and left it at that. But it's like, like I said earlier, we're broken and we need fixing, and I need fixing, and I'm broken, and what's wrong with me? And we go down this insane rabbit hole of self-loathing. Guilty as charged, fun fact, okay? But like, we go down and we love ourselves so horribly, and we're broken, and this happened to me, and this happened to me, and that happened to me, and I feel like this, and it's just like this insane negative ball that goes on. And that's what I didn't put in there, and you know what I mean? And it was really, I wanted to say, it's where, how magnificent are, like, little bits and pieces can come together and make something shiny and amazing, but we're amazing as we are. Period. Nobody needs fixing. Okay? Is there help? Yeah. None of us are broken in that sense. Like, I feel like it's like broken little pieces. We're not broken in the sense of, something is terribly wrong with me. We have things that happened that created the way we are. How great is that? And how amazing is it that we live in a world where we can change that? So that's kind of why I wanted to, that's also where I like to come from too, because it's not, we go down, and we make meaning out of things. And this is all the things that I teach and talk about. Like, we make meaning out of things, and oh my God, I'm broke, I'm fixed, and I don't deserve this, and I shouldn't have this. And it goes on and on and on and on and on because we think we're broken. And it stems from we think we're broken. What if I love myself, I'm learning to love myself just as I am. What if it's you don't make it, just is. First the flowers bloom, it just is. What if, this event happened to me, okay, I need real help to, and you can call me, we can do the thing. Or it's like, okay, it happened 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. What am I rolling on this never-ending hamster wheel for? So that's what I wanted to add to the post, but I didn't, because I also feel like, it just didn't require it. I felt like it was more impactful. Sometimes I feel like it's more impactful, less is more. Keep it simple.
That's fantastic. Let me welcome my friend Jen. Hi, Jen. Thank you for joining. So glad to see you, my friend. Yes, absolutely. And I appreciate you sharing the thought process there, Caren, because, I agree with you that less is more, and whoever gravitates towards the message is going to get the behind the scenes. They're going to get what you're not saying because it's already in them. And even if they don't necessarily do it consciously, there will be something from what you're sharing that resonates, that triggers that thought of curiosity, which I also think sometimes we get wrapped up in it, even just to have the curiosity to see, this communicated something, this meant something for me, this made me feel something. Let me stick with this for a minute to figure out what that is and where it's coming from. And I feel like that is where people like you come in to help facilitate that in a safe way, so people can self-explore and get to learn their motives better and why they make decisions the way they do and how that impacts the way in which their lives unfold.
Exactly.
Yeah. What kinds of comments do you get, Caren? Even, either with the post on We Are Disco Ball, or maybe your Friday dance post, or anything else that you communicate. What has been probably the most meaningful comment reaction that you have gotten so far?
Generally speaking, positive. So on my Friday dance parties, especially, and especially when I wasn't on LinkedIn for a little bit, I got phone calls. Where are you? And where are your Friday dance party? So that was sweet. And you know who you are. I'm not going to shout you out, but you name. But I was like, oh my God, how funny is that? And how great is that? Like, people are like texting me and like, where are you? I haven't seen your Friday dance party. But mostly it's positive. It's mostly, it makes people think or agreeing with me, or people add on to what I say. So I think that's really, really neat, is that I haven't had, and it would be fine if I did, but I haven't had someone like really hate on me, speak, or speak negatively towards what I'm putting out there. So that's been kind of nice. It's really, I make you think, or, expand. Been very positive, which I'm really enjoying.
Very cool. I enjoy your posts a lot. I'm always looking forward to your Friday dance. I forget how's the hashtag. Let's say it again so people know.
It's hashtag Friday Dance Party.
Friday Dance Party. I look forward to that every Friday, because you show up with your disco music, with your sunglasses on. You make a whole party, with yourself, and I join in that. And I love it when you say, give me a yay me, or something like that. So you engage people in your vibe, and people respond to that. Everybody has a lot of fun with it. You know what I would love?
Can I?
Maybe you can do like a challenge thing. You know, like I've been thinking about like, oh, what about, you know, everybody starting to join you in the movement?
Challenge accepted. You know what? I'll more than gladly. I will more than gladly do that. And the origin, if I may, it's 4 years old. That part. It started during COVID with, we would do power hours by Isogenics, and we were going to do a 30-day challenge. So that's a really good point, Lindsay, to your point about making the challenge. And it was like, what can I do for 30 days? And I was like, oh, dance, because we were in the throes of insanity, 4 years ago. And not to get political, but it was just, what can I do to bring joy? That's where it came from in my brain. I was like, well, I'll dance on social media because I don't care. It's weird, it's fun, it's silly, it's ridiculous. It's me. And so I did it every day. I used to do it every day. I did it every day for 30 days and then people loved it. So I kept going. So that actually is 4 years old. And I stopped it for a while. And then somebody's like, could you please, for the love of God, bring it back? So to your point, I think also it's about bringing joy to people in a different kind of way, and showing the real side of a human being. Because a lot of times on social media, you see the highlights and, whatever else, and God bless, and that, I'm not knocking any of it, but like, I've gotten the question, like, what makes you stand out? And I want to be real. Like, I just want to do the good, bad, and the ugly. That's what I want to show. So yeah, I mean, if people want to challenge and join in on the fun and do your own videos, Friday dance parties, maybe I'll do that this Friday. But yeah, it's really about spreading the joy and spreading the love and being human. Like, to your point, Lindsay, what you do too, like just being human.
Oh, I love it. I need to find the courage, but I think it will be an amazing movement of just letting go of, fear of what other people might think of you. Let me take a pause here. We are about to start ramping down with the conversation, sadly, and it happens every Wednesday when I bring somebody special like Caren. Like, I have so many more questions and so many things we could dive into for more hours, but obviously we have a commitment here to keep it within a time frame. But before I start wrapping it up with Caren, does anybody have a question? Do you want to come on the stage, dive deeper into anything that we talked about with her? Has it been interesting for you? Give me a heart or a little thumbs up, or you can clap too. Awesome. All right. So Caren, this is how I typically end these conversations. I want to make sure that those who have been getting to know you better today walk away with the top 3 things you would like them to remember you for. When they think about Caren, what are the things you want them to carry with them from this conversation?
Oh, God. You ask amazing questions. What are the top 3 things from this conversation to remember me for? Remember me for being, I'm going to use the A word, even though it's overused, authentic. Use it anyway. Remember me as being an ally and someone that roots for you and truly wants to help others in what I do. I really want to make an impact with what I do. And also remember that we're not broken, that we are whole. We are enough and whole as we are.
Oh, I love it, Caren. I want to thank you for being such a fabulous friend to me. There's a lot more that you and I talk about behind the scenes than people know. And I feel like there have been very critical points in time where you just showed up as if you were knowing I needed, that message that you just shared, and intuitively felt it and showed up for me and picked me up and gave me back my little disco ball. And so I am very thankful with you, with your friendship. I loved it when we met in New York City in person and you took me to eat those delish sandwiches that we got to spend time together. And I'm super appreciative that you accepted to talk to me today and to share your story in a more detailed level so that other people get to know you too. What I hope, these audio events, create is a space that where we can cross-pollinate and get to know each other and our relationships are shared. And, I've been inspired so much by, people like Melissa and Victoria and Andrea and team. And now, you and others that are on this platform trying to do real good things. And it really comes down to that, like how do we cross-pollinate, how do we build support systems, and how do we let go of, self-interest to figure out where we lift each other up to be able to, all of us, chase our dreams because it's not an easy thing to do. So do you have any parting words, Caren, before we wrap it up?
Amen to all of what you just said. And I want to also thank you. I appreciate you for having me in all the things that you are and all the things that you be. And I want to thank everyone for listening and being here today. And what you said about cross-pollinating and things like that. The beautiful thing about this platform and what we all do here, guys, is like, let's all connect and let's all have conversations and let's all support each other. And that could just mean commenting on each other's posts. It doesn't, if we work together, cool. But, let's not make it, it doesn't have to mean anything other than what it is. We can cross-pollinate, we can hang out and just support each other as human beings. That's what we can do.
Love it. Well, I'm excited you hung out till the end. So thank you, Victoria, Jacob, T, Melissa, and Andrea. You're amazing friends. Thank you for supporting this audio chat and Caren and I. And I will see you all next Wednesday. I'll get to do it all over again. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.